Marhaba, this is Abdulrahman from the Arabiker. In this video we will be covering one Arabic letter, that is the ha, the straightforward sound of a ha, hu, he, along with a special type of a previous letter that we covered, ta. Stay with us. Before we start, make sure to check the course page on our website to get access to some practice drills and support material. So, our topic today is the ha, and let's just leave that for a moment. We will be covering that later on, but our topic today is the ha. Let's see how it looks in its 4 positions in Arabic. Now, this is a very interesting letter in Arabic, as a lot of learners found it a little bit challenging to write down and even to recognize in different fonts. So let's see how the ha will look like in a standalone position. So basically, I will start from below the ruled line, going up, inclining towards the right, creating a round shape, another round shape smaller, and then go to the left. This is how the ha will look like. One more time. This is how it looks when I write quickly. However, you must be aware that the ha will look like a circle in some cases, in a standalone position, and in some fonts. And in typing, in handwriting, it will look like this. Just a circle. We will see that, inshallah. Now, in the start position, it will look similar to this. Again, I started from below the ruled line, going up, one round shape, another round shape inside of it, then we connect to the next letter. Now in the middle position, it's a little bit tricky because people write it in 2 different ways and maybe more. One of them is just like this. Go down, go up, then go back again to connect to the next letter. However, me personally, I do it like this. Okay, I found it more intuitive, as this, what you see here, is identical to what you see here, right? But I go below the ruled line here. Now in the final position, it looks like this. I don't know what to call it, but some kind of animal head, a camel's head maybe. However, you might notice that, okay, this looks a little bit similar to this, and we will get to that. As always, we will see now how the ha will look like using the font by typing it in on the keyboard. But I will type it 3 times because I will show you the challenging part about it and how it looks differently depending on the font. Okay, so this is the first font that I'm using. Ha in the standalone position, start position, middle position, final position. Now I will use now another font. I have changed the font. Standalone position, almost similar. Start position, also similar. Middle position, that's different, right? But don't get confused. This is a ha in the middle of the word, connected from both sides, and this is exactly the same character but with different font. Final position lastly. Looks similar. Okay, now I have changed the font for the 3rd time and see how it looks separately in a standalone position. It's the circle that I told you about here. And in real time, this is how it looks for real in words. Not like this if it's not connected from both sides. This is how it will look like in word for real if it's not connected from both sides. And we will see some examples. Start position, similar. Middle position, this is similar to this. And final position. Okay, as always, let's move on now to words that incorporate this ha along with letters that we have learned. Let's start by the word, and you try to write it down before I do. The first word is habat. 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 It means it landed, like an airplane landed. Next word that we have is nahar. Nahar. Try to write it down before I do. Nahar. It means daytime. Next word that we have, I will write it down. You try to pronounce it before I do. Shifah. Shifah, which means lips. Lastly, Safih. Safih, which means like stupid or someone with low intellect, for example. As always, let's see how these words will look like by typing them in. Habat, Nahar. As you can see here, this font uses this type of ha that we can see here. Don't get confused, it's different from mine, but it's a ha as well. Shifah, and lastly, Safi. Now still, we didn't talk about this letter here. Alright, first let's discuss the name of this character. The name of this character, we call it Ta marbuuTa. Ta marbuuTa. You might say, okay, ta, we know this before. It's the ta that we know before, right? The ta with two dots. I replaced it with the dash, as we know, or two dots, right? Yes. But it's marbuuTa. It's marbuuTa, which literally means tied. So what happened here is that we took those two ends of the ta and we tied them together, creating this type of ta, which will look like this if it's a standalone position, not connected to anything, or it will look like this if it's connected to the previous letter. You might ask now, okay, where is the middle position? Where is the start position of this ta marbuuTa? There isn't, because it only occurs in the end of the word, at the end of words, some words. So this type of ta marbuuTa only occurs at the end of the word, whether it's connected to the previous letter like this, or it's not connected to the previous letter. But still, why we are discussing this topic, ta marbuuTa, along with the ha? In order to clarify the idea, let's get some examples. Okay, I will write down a word and you try to pronounce it, okay? Now, knowing that this is a ta, but marbuuTa, you might have tried to pronounce it as madrasat. Madrasat, which is fair enough. However, this type of the ta, which is ta marbuuTa, when we pause, we're not giving connected speech. When we pause pronouncing, reading aloud there, it will sound like a ha. It will look like a ha. That's why they look similar, by the way, with the one difference, the two dots. So it will sound like madrasah, madrasah. Now, in day-to-day conversations, we don't really emphasize the sound of a ha at the end. It will just sound like a fatha, madrasah, madrasah. That's it. Let's have more examples. This word here has the ha in the middle, maha, and then ra and ta marbuuTa. It will sound like mahara, mahara. It means a skill, by the way, and this one means a school, one school, singular. Back to the mahara here, which means a skill, it has this ta marbuuTa, okay? This one is connected. This one is not connected because the ra does not connect to the left. Now, this ta marbuuTa will sound like a ta, regular ta, if we are giving a connected speech, for example, or emphasizing case ending, which we didn't cover yet. Pay attention that the ta marbuuTa here will sound like a ta if it's in a connected speech. We're not pausing there. For example, if I have case ending, which we didn't cover yet, I know, but if there's a case ending like ta to t, it will retain its sound. Or, this is very important now, if we have a suffix, like to say my school. I know that we didn't cover the possessive pronouns, we will cover it in a different course, but To say my school in Arabic, we just add a E suffix to the word. Let's see how it looks and how it sounds. This is how it looks. Notice that the ta here is written regularly because it's not at the end of the word. Remember, we said that the ta marbuuta only occurs at the end of the words. Here it's not because we have a suffix now. And it will sound like a regular ta. Madrasati. Madrasati. Okay? Again, another example here. Maharati. Maharati, which means my skill. My main goal of this video is to introduce this type of ta marbuuta to you, and you recognize how it sounds and what to consider about it when it comes to writing it down. However, just a piece of information, and we will cover that later on systematically when we study grammar and stuff, but this ta marbuuta at the end of words, it's an indicator for 95% correct of the times that the word here is feminine. Arabic words, they have gender, feminine or masculine in nouns, for example. Madrasa here is a feminine word, it has this ta marbuuta. Mahara is a feminine word, it has this ta marbuuta. For example, the word talib. Talib means a student, male student. If I add to this a ta marbuuta, it becomes feminine or female student. Taliba. Taliba. See, it didn't sound like a ta because I paused there. Now if I say, for example, my female student, like this, for example, I will say talibati. It will sound like a regular ta. Now, a word like mudir. Mudir is a manager, male manager. If I add the ta marbuuta to it, it will become female manager. Mudira. Mudira. Now if I say my manager, my female manager, I will say mudirati. Mudirati. Again, see how the ta retained its sound because it's not at the end anymore and we're not pausing there. One last example is muwazzaf, which means an employee, a male employee. We will make it feminine by adding a ta marbuuta, muwazzafa. It means a female employee. Okay, that's it for this video in which we covered the Arabic consonant, the Arabic letter ha, which is a straightforward, just let the air out, ha, hu, he, along with the ta marbuuta. Stay with us more in the next videos as we cover more topics related to the Arabic alphabet. See you there.